Hey guys, it's Christy the Hand-Dyed Diva. It is June 23rd. It is Friday. I thought it was Thursday for a second there. It's Friday. I've been seeing this 20 random facts tag going around a lot lately on FlossTube, and I thought I would get in on that, play along, so to speak. It seems really interesting. I can't assure you that you will be incredibly amused, as I really had to scramble for some interesting stuff to talk about. But hopefully it will keep your interest, and maybe I'll do another small tag after that that's a little more Stitchy related, so we will see how that goes. Let me get started, and I've got notes because I had to really think this one over. Alright, fact number 1. My full first name is Christiane, but for most of my life no one has ever gotten that right. They will either call me Christine or Christina or Christian. I mean, none of those are bad names, but it's not my actual name, so I finally got to the point where I just decided to go by Christy and keep my full name for legal documents primarily. I only have about 2 family members that actually even call me that, and everyone else just calls me shortened versions or nicknames. So yeah, Christy, Christiane, it's all fine. 2, I am a bit of a germaphobe. I like to be clean. I like to bathe often. I like to have my hair clean. I wash my hands probably 30 to 40 times a day, which does require some good moisturizer and some nice soap, but I think that started when I became sensitive to different food allergies and things like that. I became really conscientious of what I was touching and what I was cross-contaminating food and stuff in the kitchen, and so I really got on the habit of washing my hands incessantly, basically throughout the day. I like things cleaned, I like things sanitized, so yeah. Number 3, I do have some OCD tendencies. I don't like to claim OCD, but I do notice things off in a room the moment I enter the room. If, for instance, we have a little hook in our kitchen that hangs a pair of kitchen shears, and one person keeps going in there and flipping it the opposite direction, and that really bothers me. I have to go in there and flip it the right way on the hook. I eat my food in circles. Like, I'll have a plate with 3 or 4 different things on my plate. I will eat, I'll take a bite, and I always end up with 1 bite of each side, or everything on my plate. I always end up with 1 bite of each thing left. When I eat chips, I always eat from the smallest chips up to the largest chips in an order. When I'm eating M&Ms, I always take the colors and put them in line. Yeah, I have some tendencies. A little bit silly. I do have some left-handed tendencies as well. Ever since I was young, I always thought I could be ambidextrous if I put just a little bit of effort into that, but I never really did put the effort into that, because I wondered about that. I did an online test and I came up at like 30% left-handed tendencies. I asked my mom about that, and she said that one of her kids actually did start going left-handed, but she didn't know how to deal with that, so she rewired us, so to speak, and she trained us how to do it right-handed instead, and she thinks that was probably me. So I could have been left-handed, but right now I am definitely right-handed, but I have some of both tendencies. I don't like wearing makeup. I love the look of it, but my skin is so very, very sensitive and irritated that I do not wear makeup unless I have to. So 95% of the time, if I am not literally leaving the house, going somewhere, or doing a video, I do not have makeup on. Most days, in my opinion, are a complete waste of makeup for me because I don't go out very often, and I don't want to waste my good makeup just being at home or just doing stuff here that no one else is going to witness, so I don't like to waste my good makeup. 6, I have a unique feature. Actually, I have 2, but one's a little more embarrassing than the other. I have some natural highlights in my hair. My last video, I could actually kind of see a couple of those. I have a couple of faintly blonde streaks in my hair. Completely natural. My hair is totally virginal hair. I don't do anything with color. But the one thing that's really unusual is straight up the back of my hair, straight up the very point of the middle back, I have a blonde streak of hair that is only ever visible when I have my hair up. And the fun part is that my niece, of all the people in the world, my niece has the same feature. She has a blonde streak right up the middle of her hair. No one else in the family that anyone is aware of has that feature, so it's kind of like, you take after me. Number 7, the only surgery I have ever had is to have my wisdom teeth removed. I think I was about 18 at the time, and it was a pretty traumatic experience because my wisdom teeth they weren't exposed yet, but they were already causing problems with my teeth alignment and things like that. So when I had the surgery, it was kind of to make sure I didn't have further damage, because I never had braces. I wanted my teeth to be nice without the braces, and I knew they were gonna kind of shove my alignment out. So we went ahead and had the surgery, and they couldn't just give me a little bit of gas and just have me awake to pull them. They literally had to put me under general anesthetics. I had to be completely out of it because they had to cut open my gums. They had to break away the bone that was covering the wisdom teeth, and then they had to take a chisel and break my wisdom teeth into 4 pieces, on top and bottom, in one surgery. So it was almost like getting 4 nose surgeries at one time. I woke up from that surgery, I was so sore, and I was in so much pain. I had to go on strong medication for about 3 days, and basically it knocked me out. I was basically unconscious for about 3 days because the medicine made me so dopey, I just slept straight through. I had concerns when I had my surgery because I'd watched some of those YouTube videos about kids talking crazy. When I went in there, I asked the nurses, I was like, now is this stuff you're giving me, is this going to make me rummy? Is it going to make me talk? Am I going to say something embarrassing? Oh, it's been known to. Okay, I said, I'm going to shut my mouth now, and I'm not going to open it again until after the surgery is over. I shut my mouth, and when I woke up, the first thing on my mind was, well, pain, ow. The second thought was, I asked the nurse, I said, did I say anything? Did I talk after I said I was going to shut up? And she said, no, you shut your mouth and you didn't say another word. So I was pretty happy about that. All right. Number 8 fact is, I thought I would explain just a little bit of some of the medical stuff I keep implying or inferring about that has caused me to kind of not be able to do a lot or hold down a full-time job. When I was, I don't even know how old I was. This was probably about 10 years ago. I woke up one day and I had extreme pain in my eyes, and I couldn't handle light, and it was just incredibly painful, like sharp pain in my eyes. And I went into the bathroom and I looked in the mirror, and all of the whites of my eyes were completely like blood red. I looked like a Sith Lord, if you know what that is. They weren't just like, oh, your eyes look strained and oh, your eyes are kind of red. No, they were like literally like blood red, all the whites. And I freaked out. And I called the eye doctor, our special doctor that I've gone to for everything ever since I needed any help with my vision. And I had to wait a couple days to get in, but he saw me and he said that I needed some antibiotics. So I took the antibiotics, and after a couple days I started getting a little better and the pain started subsiding, but it was miserable. Well, that went on for a couple years. I kind of had a couple recurring issues with that. Like I would maybe 3-4 months in between, and then I would wake up and my eyes would be painful again, and so I'd go back and he'd give me some more antibiotics, and it finally went away completely. I haven't had problems with that for years now. But one day I woke up with a similar issue in my eyes with them hurting, but they weren't bloodshot. I had just spots in my vision of these just dark spots that I could not see anything through those spots. It was like a dense cloud spot. And I went in to see him, and he was pretty concerned, and he did a battery of tests on me. He had a vision field test, and he did some deep internal eye screenings and things like that, and then he had me do some blood tests and a urinalysis. And when those test results finally came back in, I went to see him, and he was like almost wiping his brow with relief. He's like, "You don't have a brain tumor." Okay, you don't have a brain tumor. That's what I was scared about. But he said it was something else that was also not a good thing. He called it optic neuritis, which is a swelling of the optic nerve. And he said, "I don't want you to go online and read about this. You don't need to read up on it. Just trust me, you're going to be okay." He's a family friend. I wanted to trust him, but me, in my curiosity, I'm a very curious person. Finally, after a couple weeks of just like, I have to know what he's not wanting to tell me, I got online and I read up on what optic neuritis is, and apparently, somehow, one of the main reasons for it occurring is exposure to radiation. Now, I don't know how that could have occurred. Microwaves give off radio waves and things like that. I don't know, but reading up on it, it said 1 out of 2 people who get that usually end up with MS. I did not know what MS was, except for the fact it's a bad thing. I don't want to go there. It's a bad thing. You don't want it. So as soon as I read that, I shut the computer off and I said, nope, I'm the one of the 2 that's not going to get that. And never got on to even read up symptoms or anything. I just pushed it out of my mind. So I didn't realize over the next few months I was actually kind of having some symptoms. And so it got to the point where I had become numb from the waist down, like completely numb, and I couldn't feel the ground beneath my feet, and I was starting to have a lot of balance issues. I would just be standing there and I'd just kind of just topple all of a sudden. It was not a good thing, and it was getting increasingly more difficult for me to walk, and I could not run at all. So it got to the point where I would try to leave the house and I would try to step out of the car, and I could not propel myself. I literally couldn't get my feet to go one in front of the other. I couldn't move. So I would have to literally have someone come around to the side of the car and have to grab onto them, and they would have to propel me into the store, and I would have to ride in a motor scooter. It was not good, and I was getting really, really scared. I started doing some treatments that I heard about that are not often heard of, and I started getting better, and I've been better ever since. I've been improving. I haven't had the problem with walking. I don't really run right now, but I can do a light bit of jogging. I don't have problems walking, except for the fact my knee can give me problems every once in a while from a previous injury. So what I did has really helped me, and the rest I'm trusting God with. I know that He can do anything. He has the power to change any of my circumstances. and I'm trusting him in that. And so that is not something that is going to define my life. That is not something that is going to hold me back. And I'm moving forward. So anyway, that kind of connects to two more of my facts that I'm going to share with you. Number 9 is when my feet started going numb and I couldn't feel the pedals, so I stopped driving completely. I let my license expire. I didn't get behind the seat of the steering wheel of the car. It's been about 7 years since I've driven. I'm getting to the point where I'm ready just to drive again, because I'm much better than I was. So I just, for safety's sake, and because I know I'm putting other people's lives in jeopardy, and I don't want to not push the right button or push too hard and not feel it, I don't have that numbness anymore, and I'm doing so much better. Then I'm going to be driving again very, very soon. Hopefully in the next 2 months. I want to go get my card again. And I'm excited about that, because that's really made me feel pretty, very, very dependent. Not being able to drive, having to rely on people taking me hither and yon and everything like that. Fact number 9, when I get a car, which I hope won't be too long, I don't know exactly what model I want yet, because I need to study up on it. I kind of pushed the dream of having a car aside for a while there when I was really having a bad time. Have not really studied up on it, but I do know that when I get a car, I want it to be a cherry red car. Even though I've been told, oh, don't get a red car, those are the cars most watched by police. I'm a safe driver. I'm a considerate driver. I'm a law-abiding citizen. I want a red car. I just want one. Alright, number 11. I wanted, when I was young, I always dreamed of being, my first was to be a ballerina. That didn't work out. I wanted to be a gymnast. Those two things I know I could have been awesome at. I had the energy for it. I was very, very flexible. I was very ambitious and very highly motivated. I couldn't get into that because by the time I was old enough to take the lessons and things like that, my parents had lost a business, and so they couldn't afford to put me in those gymnast schools or anything like that. So by the time I got a little bit older and it would have been more possible, I felt like I was beyond the age where it would have been easy for me to really learn that stuff. But I was doing some skating on the side. I loved skating. So then my next dream was to be a professional figure skater. I wanted to do Olympics and things like that. But then because of the injuries I had with my knee and then the car accident with my shoulder, I was like, I have to push this dream aside as well. So I really, really wanted to do some of those things. So I'm determined if when I have children someday, if my daughter wants to do that sort of thing, I really want to help her do that sort of thing, if it's possible to do that. Because that honestly has never died in me. It's still that underlying thing of, man, I wish I could have done that. I wish I could be doing that. Fact number 12. I am the youngest in my family. There are 5, and I have 4 brothers. The interesting dynamic to this is that on my mom's side of the family, she had 3 brothers, no sisters, and 2 of her brothers ended up having children themselves, and they only had boys. So I am the only girl in my generation on my mom's side. And on my dad's side, he is the only one on his side of the family, he was one of 7, that did not have a daughter first. All of his siblings, if they had children, had a daughter first, and then a son, and if they had any more children after that, they were all girls. So we kind of broke the chain on both sides of the family, so to speak. Very interesting, and it was interesting growing up the only girl on my mom's side of the family. Number 13, a claim to fame. When I was 16, I was all about the singing, and since I couldn't do the skating and I couldn't do the gymnastics and I couldn't do the ballet, I really wanted to do singing. That was the other thing that was just really on my heart. It was really in my heart. Um, and 16, 17, I was just so gung-ho. I knew my career was going to take off and I was going to be touring the country and making albums and all this kind of stuff. Well, it didn't actually happen. It was a fun dream for the time. But when I was 16, we had a local radio station that was hosting a contest that was, if you send in a demo tape and you win, you will sing backup at a concert for a Christian band that was coming to our city. They'd never been there before. And so I was so excited to enter this singing competition. I sent in my demo. It was painstaking. I was so wanting it to be special, and I sent it in, and I had to wait like a week to hear back, and it was excruciating. But I heard back. They announced my name on the radio. I was like screaming around the house. It was awesome. Anyway, so I got to sing backup for a local, or not a local, but a well-known band at the time. They now have disbanded and they're not together, but I got to sing backup at a concert, and that was one of the coolest experiences of my life. It was quite an achievement, and I felt so accomplished. I felt like I achieved this amazing feat. And I still go back to that and think how awesome that was and how cool it was at the time. 14. I am a coffee drinker. I love tea and coffee. My favorite coffee is a blend that I have kind of derived myself. It's 4 parts decaf vanilla nut cream coffee, and then 1 part dark chocolate cherry. And it's really like a creamy cherry, mellowed out cherry flavor, and I love to use a bit of whipping cream for my creamer. I've tried all kinds of creamers. I don't like any of them but whipping cream. And I try to be very careful with how much I use because of the calories, but I have to be careful with how much caffeine I have because it can make me really, really jittery, really, really shaky. Like my nerves can just be all just quivering. So I have to be really careful how much caffeine I drink. But that's my favorite coffee. Oh, and I do drink some soda. But this is the only kind of soda I drink. Well, the only kind of soda, not the only flavor. I only drink the real sugar. I don't drink high fructose corn syrup, and I avoid aspartame at all costs because I know aspartame can also not be good for neurological health. So I avoid that completely. Not even in gum. I won't even chew gum with it. 15. Do I have pet peeves? I do have some pet peeves. My pet peeves would be people getting into things and not putting things away. And I'm thinking like kitchen and bathrooms. Leaving lids off of hairspray, leaving condiments out on the counter, leaving chips open. Even if I'm not going to be eating the chips, I mean, you're making your own chips stale. Stop doing that. I have clips. Use the clips. Pet peeves would also be people who are unreasonable and can't be talked to, who are so opinionated they will not listen to reason, or they won't listen to another viewpoint. I also have a pet peeve about people who say all the time. And I do it so much in my videos, so I get irritated with myself. Okay. 16. If money were no object. If money were no object, I would definitely be a world traveler. Like, we're talking like Rick Steves, going to all the really cool, out-of-the-way places, all the really... Oh man, I would love his job. I would love his job. I want to go to like France, Provence, all those different amazing scenic places. I want to visit the Alps. I want to visit London, and I want to go to Ireland. Oh, I want to go to Ireland so bad. I would love to be a world traveler, and if also gluten weren't an issue. Yes, if gluten were not an issue. I would also, if money were no object, I would buy myself an amazing home in a gated community with a fountain or somewhat of like a babbling brook somewhere on the premises. And I would also buy my parents a home, a really, really nice one. 17. Ideal pets that I want. There are a couple. At some point in my life, I want to own a Siberian Husky. I think those dogs are amazing. I would love to own another ragdoll cat. They're beautiful. They're sweet. But the number one pet I have wanted ever since I was very, very young, and that has never gone away, I want a toy poodle. I want a toy poodle so bad. They are the cutest things. The cutest things ever. I remembered when my parents owned their business, someone came into their business and they had their little toy poodle with them, and he was just this tiny, tiny little guy who was brown with a little tiny matted fur, and he was adorable. And I was holding him, and he licked the inside lining of my coat, and for years I refused to wash my coat because I had his little tongue print on my coat. I was a silly child, but that really made an impression on me. I want a toy poodle. Number 18. I do play some games. I do some videoing. I'm not into World of Warcraft or fighting games, really. I like more the adventure games. I got into an Animal Crossing kick at one point, but then that kind of grew really old. I do like some of the Harvest Moon games. Sims games are kind of fun. I like that I can decorate the houses and build the houses and kind of live vicariously through these characters' lives, kind of. By the way, I have always, well, since I've been an adult, I want to be an interior designer. That could be an extra fact for you right there. Interior designer, decorator. I would absolutely love that. I also like Nancy Drew games, which are seeking games, and then you have to put together clues and you find out what happened in the end. I like those kind of games. 19. I am perhaps one of the only FlossTubers I have come across who does not like Harry Potter. I just don't like it, and I don't watch it. I don't like horror type movies. Not saying that Harry Potter is necessarily horror, I'm just saying in general. I don't like horror type movies or really action type violent movies. I like some kind of fantasy movies, but not ones that are really into the witchcrafty type stuff. And then number 20, because I was at a loss. I thought I did pretty good getting as many of those random facts as I did. Last random fact, and this is a quick one, I have green eyes. Alright, so that's my 20 random facts. I hope you found that entertaining and insightful. I was just going to do one other small little tag real quick that is Stitchy related, and this one was Coffee Stitcher's tag. I don't know what the tag is called, but I'll just go with the questions. Number 1 was, what is one design you never had an interest in until you stitched one? I'm not exactly sure what that question means, because if I didn't have any interest in it, I wouldn't be stitching it. But ones that I never had interest in before at all would be like primitive ones. I never really wanted to stitch any Little House Needleworks, but I just finished ordering the supplies to stitch one of those. I don't know. I never really stitched anything that I hadn't had a lot of interest in stitching, because I mainly stitched Miras and Really Pretty Ladies, which are, I've always loved those. So Little House, things like that. Quaker type patterns. Never really been into those, but they're kind of growing on me a little bit, but only in a small way. I'm not going to be like all of a sudden changing all of my plans and stitching those now. I may incorporate a handful into my stitching. Number 2 is, what is one designer you just cannot get in the groove on? I would probably go with what a lot of other people have said and say Cloud Factory. I mean, I've seen one or two that are kind of cute, but am I seriously going to want to stitch those and have those hanging around my house? No. I really prefer more sophisticated patterns. There are a lot, I'm sure. There are some HandDyedDivas that are just absolutely not my thing at all. Like anything to do with astronomy or things like that. I'm not into that sort of thing. So there's more than one, but the names aren't directly on the tip of my tongue right now. Number 3 is, what is one chart that you would love to see made and who would design it? And I thought about this for a bit, and I had a couple different options, but I decided to go with this one. I want a Narnia collage picture. Like tons of scenes within scenes and all these different things of all the different Narnia stories and all the different landscapes and all of the different symbolisms and things like that. And I want Josephine Wall to make it. That is what I want to see. I want to see Josephine Wall make a Narnia collage picture. That would be amazing. Amazing. I don't even know exactly how it would look. I just know she could make it amazing. And I would love to see that. Now, I don't know if there was a 4th question on that tag or not. I don't have any more than that. So I'll just stop there. So anyway, I hope you enjoyed those tags. We're just over half an hour, so that took a little longer than I thought, but all good, right? Okay, I'm gonna probably do another video very soon, so take advantage of this awesome weather we're having. Lots of sunshine. So, although it is in the 90s, and it's going to be in the hundreds the next couple of days. But anyway, I'm going to take advantage of it. So you will be seeing another video from me soon. More stitchy related videos. So until next time, guys, I will see you later. Ciao for now.